एक सेकंड रुक जा, रुक 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 रुक। सुन ना तू, रेस में ना टॉप 6 को फोकस करना। मैं बॉटम
Hmm.
6 को करता हूँ, उससे
Hmm.
रहेगा कंसिस्टेंसी। एंड व्हेनेवर यू डू द रेस स्टार्ट,
Hmm. Hmm.
उसमें भी
Hmm.
तू उनका देखना, मैं नीचे का देखता है।
All right.
बाकी डेटा मेरे पास है, आई विल कीप ऑन
Um,
फीडिंग।
all right. Anyway, I think it should
इट्स
be.
रेन।
I think yeah. It's yeah. Okay. It's up. Wait. Let me just check Google to validate that that was me. I do that every time. I don't know why Google keeps asking whether that's me. But chalo. Jo bhi hai. Anyway, let's welcome everyone to the stream. This is season 8, round 10, division 2 of the Indian Racing League. It's me, Vifix on comms today, and I'm joined by a Suzuka legend, uh, for lack of a better term, Sen 7 Sevane B. How are you, Suraj?
Thank you so much for that introduction, Vifix. I will for sure give it back to you when the time is due. So, great to be back with you in the com box. Suzuka, it's raining right now and it's gonna rain during the race as well. So, it is gonna be a wet
Yeah.
session today,
Yeah, just
all
for any
throughout.
viewers confused as to how he knows that, he owns Codemasters Studios. So yeah, but on that side, I doubt, I don't know whether you would have seen free practice today, but these were the exact conditions in
It
the real life
is.
free practice as well. So yeah, it's
It had to be. It had,
yeah,
it's
it's
a
just
rainy
it's
Friday.
meant, yeah, it's meant to be. Just yeah. Hopefully, it doesn't catch many people off guard, the Suzuka circuit. I mean, I would say not much of a difference between dry to wet on this track, since it's full with slow corners for the most part. Certain corners do become tougher to handle now, and it is much easier now to make a mistake and step off the throttle. Just hitting a curb the wrong way can send you straight into a wall. Now, I mean, it could do that in the dry as well, but I feel like in the rain is a much higher chance of it happening.
It is, and while we just discussing about tricky conditions, I think Rev King he retired. I hope it
Yeah, I
wasn't a
think he has a
crash.
quali. I think he has a quali ban. So yeah, yeah. I would update the viewers on the points table right now, but that wasn't updated this week. So all I know is that Captain Sandhu did win the last race, but then again, I don't even have access to the stewards reports. So I don't even know that. So that's just how much they keep your boy, the commentator, in the loop right there. And yeah, I just question why no one wants to do comms. Yeah,
But
but
then,
on.
so if Captain Sandhu has won last time round, so how I'm guessing he's still behind
No,
Abhishek in
no, I
championship.
think he is the championship leader because he was only 1 point behind him. And as far as I remember, Abhishek was like barely in the top 10 at Singapore. So it is quite a sizable lead now. I presume it is. Again, viewers, I am sorry for a lot of presumption, but I don't have access to this tool. So even if I do check the results of the last race, it's going to be very unclear to me because I don't know what the stewards reports were. All I know is that Malav, you can beat me, who is first still, even though people have been on an out lap and he was always in the pit, so I don't even know how that works. Does have a reprimand for unsportsmanlike conduct, so do not vote him as the driver of the day, even if he
He needs to.
laps the field.
This so turn
Yeah,
one is the is what he's famous for. Fucking annoying driver. You can beat me.
yeah, just yeah. I would say apologies for the language there, but at that point, I don't even. I actually would promote this sort of messaging towards this particular driver because he just absolutely deserves it, doesn't it? But yeah, just no one said a lap hit, Suraj. By the way, this
It
is
is.
like nearly 5 minutes gone. No one's doing anything.
I mean, yeah, obviously these guys would have seen that it's gonna be a wet session in the race as well. They would want to, not sure how many drivers would have come to this event with the wet setup, so they would want to do some kind of changes, would have asked to
Yeah,
loan
and
a setup
remember,
from
box
some
firmware is
guys.
broken on this game right now, so you can, luckily for them, you can change your setup from quali to the race. So It you
Oh,
can
is it?
work on the yeah. It is broken on this game right now. You can't change it in quali, but from quali to the race, you can change your setup. Uh,
Oh, that's horrendous. And as we speak about it, Kalyan Verma, the first guy to set a time, and what does he do? He does a
141.9.
141.9. Quite some time, I think. Quite, guessing it's. I reckon
I
it's gonna be
mean, just setting a lap.
136,
And
7.
Abdul Samad, the man of the hour, I'd say, the absolute form man of the last three races. I think he's been in the top
Is
five
he?
in
Yeah, it
all
is.
three of them. And he
Yeah.
has two driver of the days in a row as well. And we all know how hard it is to get a
And
driver of the day vote. When Sid Venkatesh is in the poll as well. Yeah, I think you would be more than aware of that. But yeah, I'm just trying to follow somebody so that I can see a hot lap
it's
of them. And
Malav.
yeah,
Malav
and
who's
here
gonna start his hot lap.
here's Malav heading into turn one now, and he's absolutely messed that up.
His
And so we follow Sid Venkatesh. You were speaking about him. Let's see, not been
P3
nice
in the
couple of
championship.
races for Sid. He needs to bounce back in the championship. But here we go on that hot lap of Japan into turn one here. Where does he break? Very very early, so you can see the drivers are taking it a bit easier. Doesn't even take the exit curve, so that should just tell you how easy he's taking it. Now smooth through this first S into the second of these S's, just trying to hold the car. Very consistent power delivery needed right here, otherwise as Hershey absolutely shatters the grid right there. And I'm following Sid now as he's heading into Degner 1, which a man on a drier track would take flat out. But here you obviously have to lift into Degner 2 underneath the bridge. Very cool visual right there into this very very slow hairpin. Can he get the car slowed down? Yes, he does. Hits that curb.
Little too.
Would have cost him a bit of time right there, flipping that curb. But anyway, on to near the spoon section. Now it's very very tricky here. The car does not want to turn that way into spoon. He downshifts all the way to fourth, then goes up to fifth, which leads me to believe he didn't mean to downshift that much. Then he does that same thing with third and fourth gears. He would have lost time heading on to this straight at coming up to 130. Are flat out in the dry, of course, but he will probably have to lift given it's the rain. He does. And Abhishek has crashed. Meanwhile, but as it comes up to the last two corners, very very tricky off of traction here on the last corner. But he keeps the car in a straight line and he goes and sets a 142.4. So that was definitely a banker lap. And the person getting annoyed there would have been Smith Shaw because he was right behind him. I think he had to back off a lot. But what's Hershey driving? Because
That, I mean, one and a
he's
half seconds already.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds clear. But we haven't seen Captain Sandhu go out yet. So.
Yeah, and
And now
Abhishek
Abhishek
crashing out
just
so
DNF'd
soon.
very very early as
Yeah.
well. So, you know, in terms of the championship, this is now basically a free run qualifying for Captain Sandhu because he knows Abhishek's time will never improve. And if conditions even improve slightly, you can expect a lot of drivers to improve on their lap time, given that it's raining.
Yeah,
And
and
one.
there are not much races left,
Yeah, there are
and
only
if
6 races after 5, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6 races left after this. So.
yeah,
And only one sprint event. And one thing we forgot to mention, Suraj. Look at the time difference between Spandan's lap and Smith Shah's lap. So, can you just give me a sector by sector account of this? Because, yeah.
yeah, I've just been looking at it now. Obviously, the reason why Hershey is so quick is in sector 1 is doing 36.467, so it's almost like 7 tenths, easy 7 tenths that he's gaining on sector 1 and another 7 tenths that he's gaining in sector 2. So it's sector 1 and sector 2 doing all the difference for Hershey.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say
And
about
Shrikant,
and Srikanth and
that's a good
SSN
lap.
do break into the 39s. But one thing I'll say is that normally he struggled with those tires heating up a lot in the races. But of course, in the rain, it doesn't matter. If it's going to rain in the race, the tire heating up doesn't matter as much as it does in the dry because the tire will never heat up that much in the wet conditions because you can just always just go on the wet line in order to cool down your tires. Um, so his biggest weakness, kind of like the Mercedes today, isn't it? His biggest weakness kind of being masked by these weather conditions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think pretty much the story. And as you see, Sid Venkatech is already pushing. He did improve by 8 tenths, but
Yeah, but
I feel that there is a
he
car
needs to
ahead.
get some. But yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's up by
I
a
hope
second
this
almost.
Alpine lets him go. It's a very clear opportunity to let him go at the
Very
hairpin. If
difficult
not, he
to
can still let him go. He
very
can still
difficult to
let.
do that in a no, as
Oh,
we
power
see.
slides! That's your thumbnail right there, folks. My God,
Oh,
that was
just one
absolute.
wheel on that grass and the car
Yeah,
just went
yeah,
tumbling.
you're already turning in a counter direction to where the car wants to go naturally, and then you clip the grass as well. So now you're basically engaging a drift in an F1 car, which looks cool from the camera, but not for the timesheet. As Captain Sandhu in all of that did a 39.7. Now, what does he do on this lap? Because remember, it's wet quali, so you don't have to do one. You can do multiple hot laps in a row essentially in wet quali, which is what we
Yeah,
like about wet
yeah,
qualifying.
but then I was just wondering, you only get 3 sets of intermediate tires, and if it's gonna be wet, which is what
Yeah,
I
so
am
you
guessing, and the data is telling that it's gonna be a wet race. It's not a very wet race, so they would need 2 fresh set of inters for the race,
Yeah, and I think if you're
and
in a position like Hershey, I think you can just do the entire session on just one set. Because remember, intermediate tires, it's not about like it's not like a dry tire thing. Because dry tires wear, the more they wear, the less speed they have. But intermediates, the more they wear, the more heat you're getting into the tire, the more the tires come in contact with the ground. So it actually goes faster when it's worn to like 10 to 15%. Uh, which is how wet tires work. So I mean that's you have to factor that in. So I don't know why everyone is going on new pairs of intermediates. It's going to take them the entire time that it took them to warm that first setup. Now again they're going to have to do that. So
yeah,
I'd
and
probably
now
just do it on one set of inters.
Captain Sandhu is on a hot lap. Looks like he had a push lap. It was a warm up lap, and now he's pushing,
Ooh, and he
and
had a
looks
big
like
moment there though at the
yeah,
exit of turn two, I believe. Uh, and I
he's
think
struggling.
he's
He's struggling with traction in the
Yeah, and
SS.
I think he's really pushing very, very hard because he knows that another good result like he had at Singapore and the championship is slowly, slowly looking out of reach for everyone else, isn't it? Because even with the randomness of IRL, Suraj, like near 50 points, very hard to
Yeah,
very,
it
very.
is. It
Even
is.
with
It
the
is.
sprint
It's never
race, even
easy.
with the randomness of IRL, it's very, very hard to make up 50 points on someone. So Abhishek's
Yeah.
for the championship's sake, I think he needs a real. I think he needs a good result. Meanwhile, Thakur was in all of that went P4 into the 39s. And let's just
Good
watch
lap.
Hershey because. Oh, and I think
Harsh is
my
starting.
track map is glitched by the way, viewers, because it showed me that 5 people had the fastest first sector. So I don't know whether Hershey actually does that. Suraj something we'll have to check, but Smith Shah in that
Yeah,
was does a
Captain
39.1.
Sandhu on course for a provisional pole. He is already a second up. Just needs to take this final few corners really well.
It's
At
gonna be
least a good
close.
traction out of
Let's see this,
the
and he
final
gets very
corners. He
good,
should be. He should be getting provisional pole,
and he
and he
sticks it close to the
does.
line. But now the man who was on provisional pole comes back. Let's see what his middle sector time
He's
is.
3 tenths up. 3 tenths up on
And
by
no,
sector
he's
two.
only 2 tenths up now, so it's gonna be a
Oh,
shootout.
it
He
is.
didn't really get the best lap in there, did he, Harshi? But I think he's fueled up for more than just this one run. So
And
I think
Hershey
Captain,
is on a
that's
fresh
it.
set of inters. Sandhu was on a 3 lap hold inters when he put that lap.
And Hershey does barely improve. He goes to
He lost
38.762.
in final 2 corners.
So I think that he'll now do a slow lap and then recharge and go for a fast lap again. This is what it's
So
what
yeah,
and meanwhile I will say on the case of Abhishek, he is dangerously close now to dropping out of the top 10. It's only an improvement. They only need like an improvement of 6 tenths to break into the to him to be out of the top 10 from these three men here and Abdul Samad as well. I don't trust Malav. I do trust Abdul Samad. Um, to break that time. And considering that Smith Shah improved by 1 second from his last run, there is a lot of improvement here. So it's not looking too good for him right now. For his sake, I think he's hoping that people don't improve by that much.
yeah, and I think it is final few minutes. 3 minutes. I'm guessing it's gonna be just one push lap from the drivers, whoever are in pits right now. So they are preparing for
Meanwhile,
the final lap.
Abdul Samad goes P5, so that is
P5.
P3 and P5 for the Alpha Tauri boys. Good job, boys, holding it down for the Legion. Um, but what do you think? Because one lap on intermediates, is that really what you want to do in wet weather? Because I would say that you need at least like 2 laps in on any set of tires in the rain to get accustomed to the track. You need to get the tire up to speed with the track again. Um, it's not like dries where you can just start pushing from the first lap and then that's it. You really do
And
need
that's where
to.
I'm guessing Hershey would,
Yeah,
the tire of Hershey would come handy as he starts his push lap right now.
this will
Two
probably
lap
be
old
it for his
tires. What happened?
session, and he
Oh,
goes
he goes out.
very wide at turn one. He can back off but he doesn't have enough
He
fuel though
does
in his
back out.
car.
He
He
does
does
back
not
out
have
now.
enough fuel, so that is probably it. Unless
That's
he
it.
can coast,
That's it's done for him.
yeah, unless he can coast the, the ever-loving hell out of the. Oh, what's Mitchell doing
And
there? He's taken
Switcha
an
also looks
escapade to
like he's
the.
out of fuel now.
No, no, he's
Or
just
is
come
he?
out of the pits. He's taken an escapade onto the grass that will
Okay, so
not
he's
be.
on a minimum fuel. I'm not sure why you feel like Hershey is out of fuel. Oh, is he?
Because
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
he has 1.4 laps of fuel. You can see it on the center dash, right
Yeah.
side of their screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, unless he lifts that course to absolute perfection, which to his credit, he is doing that. Um, and Spandan goes P4 now. That pushes Abhishek to P10 because even Sid Venkatesh improved. So yeah,
Sid needs a good result. Sid needs a good qualifying
yes,
position.
it's been
He's
a
P3 right now. And if it's gonna be a three-way battle for the championship, then Sid needs a good result at
yeah.
Suzuka today.
Yeah, we need a three-way battle for the championship in all divisions. This is a public query to Season 1310.
Oh,
What are you
nice
doing?
SSN. Nice SSN.
As a
8 tenths
citizen,
up
that's
already,
yeah,
P3.
yeah, and he goes 5,000 quicker than Smith Shah. But Hershey, he says 1 lap. It's just dipped to see. This is gonna be close on fuel for his hot lap, but I think he might run out.
He will run out. One lap might not be enough. He need at least 1.1 or 1.2 when he starts it.
Yeah, but the only good news for Abhishek is that his teammate is Thakurva, who, as we all know, last season he was the wingman for Ahev in this championship, and
Right.
and you know it's very tough to find a reliable wingman in league racing. I think if Thakurva can lead Abhishek to this driver's title again as captain who is starting his lap, so is
Yeah, and
Smith.
that's a very weird way to start a lap where he goes very close to the wall,
Yeah, I don't know why
almost to
you
the
would go close
grass.
to the wall on the lap you're starting the lap one because that would cost you more time. But
Exactly.
as Hershey's not going to be able to do it, he is in the pits. He's the first man to hit the checkered flag. Abdul Samad, who for some reason selected wets but then went into the pits. I don't know. Smith Shah 3 tenths up on his lap, so Hershey might not even be P2. There was a time in this qualifying where he was 1 second faster than everyone else. And at this rate,
Yeah, and
he might not
Captain
even
Sandhu is
be
in a
P2.
stonker of a lap, four
Yeah, he's
tenths up already in sector
420
one.
right there. Yeah, I think this is a, I think this is a audition to be on the front row because I don't think anyone's beating Captain Sandhu here. He's looked on imperious form at Suzuka right now. SSN retires in the pits, so he is not gonna improve his time. Shrikant's already in the pits. Malav is not on a lap anymore. It's just Smith Shah and Sandhu. Smith Shah through the middle sector, still 3 tenths up. They should. It's
Yeah,
getting very close with Hershey, but remember Hershey had a
push.
very bad last sector. From what I remember on his lap, Sandhu now comes through, and he is just a tenth up. So they've all lost time in the middle sector. Smith Shah
Uh,
now he crosses the line.
he is
He
a good
goes
lap. He's a good
P2.
lap.
That's a
Oh,
good
just
lap
two
right
tenths
there, and he
off.
almost got put position there.
Yeah, and then
Incredible last sector.
right, all eyes on
But now,
Mala, who's the guys who's 11 seconds down.
as
So
Sandhu does improve by a 10, that should be enough, I think, to keep his position. But yeah, all eyes
it is enough.
on this guy Malav, who for some
Who's
reason
is 12
only
seconds off the pace.
yeah, I don't even think he went into the pit, Suraj, because he's saying he did 7 laps on that
Now
one
he's
set of
yeah.
intermediates.
Abdul Samad had put on wets for some reason, but it never went out. So yeah, a good quali session by Ace, who's in P7 right now. 1:34.94 ahead of the likes of Abdul, Thakurwa, Malav. So that's a good quali for Ace.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good enough quali right there. Captain Sandhu takes pole position in Japan. Smith Shah in P2, that's the front row. Harshi third, Sid Venkatesh fourth. We kind of missed that. In
Yeah,
all of that melee that was happening at the end, but the good job there from Sid. He definitely needed that. Um, but yeah, let's just wait and see because this should be a fun race, especially if it's dry and wet, if it's mixed weather conditions in it. But let me just run you through the grid order right there. It's Captain Sandhu in P1, Smith Shah in P2, Harshi in P3, Sid Venkatesh P4, SS in P5, Shrikant P6, Ace in 7th, Spandan in 8th, Abdul in 9th, Malav in 10th, Thakurva 11th, Ram in 12th, Abhishek 13th, GRL Mosquito 14th, Viper Speed 15th, Vintage 16th, Kalyan Verma 17th, Rev King 18th, 19th, Abhi 20th. Oxidized, these three did not set a lap time, and Rev King with a qualifier and out qualifies two people. Brilliant.
I'm really
Um,
concerned for the pace of Vintage. Vintage was showing a strong pace last season or last
yeah,
season
he's
and
not
half.
had the most consistent of seasons. So from what I heard, he just said he doesn't have enough time to play this game right now. And remember his camera angle. I don't think this game is as kind to the off center, the third person camera as the last game was. Because you do need to watch your steering movement a lot on this game. Compared to the last one where it was more like just chuck full lock into most corners.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think a lot more we can expect from a Vintage player.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is raining in the race as well. So uh,
Whew. This race start's gonna be interesting.
talking
Uh,
about race start, I mean, we have a lot of stories about the race starts, don't we, Vivek?
yeah.
People
Uh,
starting side by side, people just nudging the other driver to the wall, almost colliding, making them lose a wing. Turn one comes, and then likes of Malov kick in where they try to spin
yeah.
other
I,
drivers,
I I would genuinely not blame
and
everyone else
then
for just
and then by the time they reach 130R, there is a collision waiting with the likes of
yeah.
what happened with Racing
And
Gupta and
you
PSI
cannot
Legends.
take, you cannot actually take it flat out in these conditions. So well, he was right. Uh, PSI legends in that way, but tires, everyone's on intermediates. What a shocker! There's
Inters,
free
it,
tire.
it, it
Yeah,
tells it's
there's
gonna
a
be a
free
wet
tire
race.
choice on the grid. I definitely thought somebody would go for a soft tire, but yeah, just no boldness here. But turn one, I think Captain Sandhu, this is the one race as a pole sitter. You're praying that you get a good launch. Otherwise, you risk going side by side into turn one, and then we all know what can happen at turn one.
Turn
Um,
one, I mean, yeah, the guys who are starting on the left have a considerable advantage for the restart at Suzuka because the sheer line that needs to be taken for turn one to turn two and turn three. So, hope Captain Sandhu and the likes of Hershey are able to make full use of it, but the people, uh, but Smith and Sid Venkatesh, you cannot discount them. So they are pretty mature drivers, I would say, and quite sensible as well. So
I mean, Smith Shah is a champion in another league. So
yeah,
he definitely knows what it takes to win in these toughest conditions. And Sid Venkatesh has more experience in life, but also in league racing than probably
right.
everyone else on this grid, except for Malav. But he has like 6 times his points total because he is just that much of a superior driver uh, to Malav. That yeah. So I think it should be a fun start. I think the leaders should probably take it a bit cautious because, I mean, they have so much to lose here. So, is it ever going to dry or is this just the weather for the entire race?
It is gonna be a wet entire race.
Yeah, so they have so much to lose here because theoretically, Suraj, if enough safety cars come out, you don't even need to pit. So, holding position is very, very crucial in
Very
this sort
crucial
of
and
situation.
tire temperatures.
Yeah.
I see Captain Sandhu
They
almost close
need
to
to have
70s
these
range.
tires. They need to have these tires heated up at the grid itself. Otherwise, it's going to be so tricky to get the launch off the line. And if you don't get the launch off the line, then
And look at
you could be
Smith.
stuck.
How is he warming tires? Beautiful.
Yeah,
And
and
hope nobody
no
gets
one's part.
disqualified.
And as soon
Hershey.
as yeah, we're just gonna say that Malav gave him that Panauti job, but yeah, nobody angling
And
their
Dark
car
Car.
at this race. In the last race, I don't know if you saw Oxidized Age had
Oh,
some
that was
incredible.
something, and I think that glitched the lobby.
Yeah, he parked his car at such a right angle. Yeah, but now we wait, and the wait is over. I can't see the lights go off, so I assume that they're off. Yeah, lights off, and away we go. It's a brilliant start from Captain Sanju Switcha. Typically, with a poor start yet again, he's gonna get swarmed at turn one as Sandhu has just gone away from everyone. Spandan on the outside there took
Wow,
advantage of that, and
what
he takes
six
P2.
positions gained by Spandan. What
That's
does
a
mega start
brilliant
that guy
race
had?
start right there. Malav himself gaining 4 positions, so now he's just behind his teammate. Um, Look at that. Sid Venkatesh, I think he got so frustrated. He had such a good launch, but then he got held because Smith Shah's car was just blocking that path, wasn't it? And now Harshita's got on the inside of Sid Venkatesh, but of course, Suraj, it's difficult enough to overtake here in the drive. What are you going to do in the rain?
Nothing, just sit tight, wait for put pressure on, and just wait. The
Yeah,
car
and
right makes
now
some
we look
mistakes.
at position changes as what's happened. Viper's speed has spun. I hope for Viper's speed's sake that he can do a few laps here because the last race that he did was in Spa and he did not enjoy that. I don't think that would have been an enjoyable outing for him. Meanwhile, look at how close Venkatesh is to Smith Shah, but no overtake can be made because it's just there's nowhere to go, and everyone has to run high downforce here. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to make it through the twisty parts of the track.
Yeah,
But
but Hershey
yeah,
looks a bit close to Sid
looking at
Venkatesh.
position craft, it's almost as if qualifying didn't matter because Spandan 6 positions gained. Smithshaw's lost one,
Oh,
Hershey's lost
and
two,
Hershey making a move on
anyone on
Sid
the
Venkatesh.
inside. But yeah, Malav's gained 4, Shrikant's lost 1, Ravin's gained 4, SSN has lost 4, Ace has lost 3, Abhishek has gained 2, Vintage has gained 4, Abdul Samad's lost 4, King's gained 4, Thakurwa's lost 4, Mosquitoes lost 2, then we have a couple of people who held their position, Oxidize has gained 2, and Viper's Speech lost 5. So they've all gone up in increments of 4.
And multiples of 2. So yeah.
Yeah.
But then that was a move, and just as we were talking how difficult it is to make an overtake in Suzuka in dry, Hershey tells it how to do it in wet conditions.
Yeah,
So
meanwhile,
that
Malav
was a
fell back there. He lost a position to Shrikant Das. Now, Malav was really complaining about the lack of setup here. Well, I'd ask him to pursue his lack of skill degree first before he blames it on the setup. But I guess that's what all drivers do to compensate for the fact that they can't drive. But yeah. Meanwhile,
yes.
Abhishek is slowly trying to make his way up the order, but I think he, of all people, would have wanted a dry race because it's gonna be so difficult for him now. With Captain Sandhu leading as Ramin gets a 3 seconds already on lap 2. Meanwhile,
And Malav
Malav
makes a
goes
move.
back on Shrikant Das. I assume Shrikant, what's
went
happened
off.
to Shrikant there? Yeah,
Shrikant went off.
and now he's going to lose another position here to SSN if he's not careful because he's going to have no momentum going into 130R. Let's put on the cinematic cam for this because and they choose not to go side
Look
by
at
side.
Hershey, very close to Smitcha, and Smitcha who's in turn
Yeah,
close to
they're
Spandan.
gonna have to. They're trying to clear Spandan, who almost goes into the pits with that exit right there. But they have to try and clear him because look at the gap Sandhu's already made, and he's just coasting at this point. He can afford to just relax. And Abhishek is not getting anywhere at this point, is he?
Yeah,
It's gonna be
he
it's
he
gonna
had
open
gained
up
3 positions. Now he's
Do you
just
think
pushing down. So
at the rate is going, Suraj? You think this is the red letter day in the championship? This race is where it could
and
have
by the
been
looks
done.
of it,
Long
it
way to
looks
go.
like that, but
Long
it's a
way to
long
go,
way
of
to
course,
go,
but yeah, right. It's
and
not
anything can
looking good
happen.
for the championship contenders, really. And it's not like
And
oh, spun
Spandan
and
goes off.
spun. Oh,
No,
but he's
he didn't
managed to
spun. He
keep the
just went
car
off.
in a
He
straight
went
line.
off.
He,
Yeah.
that Is now Smith-Shaw's released. What can he do with
And
that
I'm
three,
and more
with
than that,
regards to the
what can
3 second
Hershey do?
gap?
Because he's looking aggressive. He's pushing, deploying all the battery he could. Smith not doing as much. So clearly, Smith wasn't pushing as much as Hershey was. So, but within all that battle of P2,
Yeah, but
Captain Sandhu has moved
obviously,
top 4.
obviously, Suraj, ERS usage doesn't matter that much. Excessive ERS usage in wet conditions because you'll gain more of it. And Abhishek starts to go around the outside of Spoon, changes it to the inside. Now you remember that's a very dangerous corner to try it. If you
And
remember,
he's got a little
Sebastian
bit of.
Vettel and Max Verstappen had this big incident there a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2018 where they had that
2018.
crash at Spoon.
Yeah, but Abhishek, it's not too close to ace, is he? But
Yeah, he's
that's the closest
really
battle
trying
that
and
we
he
have.
needs to get the overtakes done. He needs anything at this point. His title rival. A man was only who was 1 point ahead of 2 races ago. At this stage, he is facing around a 40-point hole to that guy in just 2 races. So he really needs something to happen right now.
Yeah, and Shrikant, Malav and said, look at that battle. 3 tenths, 4 tenths separating these three guys. And up ahead, Hershey. 2 tenths.
Yeah,
Hershey
oh,
wants to make a movement.
finally
Hershey.
Smith-Shaw makes a bit of an error and he gets capitalized on right there. I think Smith needs to start using his ERS more on the straights. To be honest, I don't see the point of having 90% ERS after 4 laps.
And why is your ER is on?
My ERS is not on, but I can see it from his steering wheel because of my incredible camera angle. Um,
Wow. Legend is the fix.
Yeah, also Abhishek tried to go around the outside of Ace, but in doing that, in trying his
Oh
utmost to
no.
get the position, he's actually lost a position now to Rev
Oh,
King.
land Ref
Oh,
King.
what's happened to Thakurwa? He just blown
Thakurwa.
his wing on the on the main straight, on the straight leading up to Spoon right there. I don't know what that was.
Thakurwa shows a lot of promise all the time. Has pace, but always
Yeah,
keep doing certain mistakes or
this is,
things.
and that's
But
a
is
safety
it
car. That's
a
a safety
safety
car. That's a
car?
safety car.
It is a safety car. It is a
Uh,
safety car.
But of course, it's not as damaging to the race leader because no one's gonna pit, of course, for any like different tire strategies and anything because it's raining, so you can't really do anything unless you wanted to go on full wets, which I don't know why you would even want to do that
Yeah.
on this track. But yeah, speaking of Thakur, but it's been enough seasons now, Suraj, for us to. There's too many rookie mistakes still. And even
Yeah.
Viper Speed didn't have a wing. It's in like 5 seasons now, so I believe we can fairly criticize him on this one because you can't be making mistakes like that 4 5 seasons in.
Yeah, especially I remember him, I think couple of seasons or maybe 3 seasons before. He was really quick in Japan. He was in a D2 race. I was in that race. The season where it was a mega battle between Shah and SSL.
Yeah,
This
but
guy was really quick in Japan, and he
yeah,
was fairly consistent through.
yeah, I do. I think I do remember that race, but in terms of what the mistake actually was, I think he just lost the throttle, coming off of that slow hairpin. Didn't get the gearing right, and maybe the extra revs just spun him out or something. But yeah, I'd say the safety car pretty inconsequential the way Sandhu was making it look off of the
Yeah,
actual
but
race start.
now
But
with the way Hershey was driving
yeah,
and the
can he
pace and the
stick
intent
close to
he's
him?
showing.
It's just really giving him a second chance, hasn't it, to not get.
Yeah. And just talking, looking at a little bit of penalty and warning scenarios. Um, Spandan, the only guy in top 5, top 6 to have a warning. 2 warnings specifically for Spandan. A warning more and he's getting a 3-second penalty. Raman has got a 3-second penalty, 3 warnings for him. And fairly everybody is keeping neat and tidy, no warnings for rest of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised though there are so many that people already have time penalties, guys. Because it's Japan, you can't really cut the track because if you cut the track, you're pretty much gonna spin out and crash.
Yeah.
Um, So I mean, should we credit them for not spinning
I
out
think I
but
think
getting the
it's
time penalty,
Degna
or
one
like?
where you are more likely to get a time penalty, and turn one and Degna
And
one.
Abhishek spits.
Oh, why? What happened to him?
Is he doing this so he doesn't have to pit later? But of course
Oh,
it's not
he
gonna.
is
But
going to change the
it's
inters.
not gonna. It's not really gonna matter, is it, Suraj? Because he's still gonna be stuck behind his back, and everyone here is gonna build a pit stop on him easy. And
Yeah,
remember, if enough safety cars come out, they don't even need to pit. Pitting is not
that's
mandatory. Um, so yeah, every safety car cuts 3 laps off of the race. So
at least three
yeah,
laps.
at least 3 laps of the race, minimum. And remember, they have cold tires for that first lap too, so they're not going to be wearing that much on the first lap that they're running after a safety car. So they're going to have lesser wear on that lap. So essentially, you're taking 3.5 laps out of your tires usage rate um, of a safety car. And there might be a lot, considering that they called a safety car for just some debris on track.
Yeah, I
But
mean, strange as it can be.
do you think he feels that he just has to try anything at this point? Because clearly that what he was doing earlier did not really bear the fruit that he hoped it would. Because he could not pass Ace. To his credit, Ace was able to
Yeah,
defend
and
him.
again,
And
if he had to go to pits, he should have done that a lap early. He would have
yeah,
at least be P17, P18 ahead of Thakur and Viper Speed. Then there are the two cars and
I mean,
two cars that he has to make
I
up.
don't think Thakurva will fight him anyway. I think Thakurva is clever enough to realize the championship permutations here. So but it does raise this question, doesn't it? And is the safety car going to come in? Because this would be a late call at this point. The last safety car line is at this turn right here, coming off of 130R. Yeah,
It
here
is
it
in
is.
this lap.
So now
And
we'll
while the
watch from
safety car is
Harshi's
starting,
POV.
pretty impressed with Ref King, 7 positions up already. So he seems to be the guy who has made a lot at this point of race.
Look at Harshi. Look at Harshi. He knows where the finish line is. He knows that Sandhu won't. He
And it's
can't.
gone.
And
It's gone.
Spandan's overtaken Smith before the line, which means he has to give back the position, which is going to result in Sid Venkatesh having a go at him. So that's what happens when you shoot it too early. When you need to pull it at the correct time, ladies and gentlemen, shoot too early, and you might have to prematurely evacuate that position right there. Um,
Oh,
but
Hershey is looking
yeah,
really confident in the
yeah,
SS.
yes.
Really confident.
But you can't overtake at the S's. That is the problem. He
Yeah.
will have to force Sandhu into an error or be really close to him at the hairpin, which is so difficult because of Degner 1. Look at that. He had to back out because he doesn't know where Sandhu's gonna break. And by the time they get to the hairpin, he is not close enough as vintage player, does not have a front wing. Oh, and neither does Viper Speed. So that's oh, who's that now in the and even Mosquito spun. So 3 people, and that is I thought it was virtual safety car for a second. Sid
Oh,
Venkatesh,
it
Sid
is a safety
Venkatesh,
car
Sid Venkatesh,
again. It's a
Sid
safety car again.
Venkatesh.
Oh no, said. No, 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 no. What did you do? Why did you do?
Oh no. But yeah, as I was pointing out, Suraj, I think um, I haven't driven the intermediates around here, but I don't assume they'll have that much tire wear right now, will they? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, just 7 laps with like what 4 laps of safety car already. So, um, it has to be.
that is why qualifying is so important on this track, especially when it's raining. Credit to Sandhu, he did a very cautious first run in qualifying. He was just assessing the conditions. He did not push at all. I think he did like a 42 in his first run, and then he picked it up once he knew the track, and he knew he could go for pole. And I think he would have taken the top 3 to be honest, with his pace. But no one improved on the last runs except for him and Smith. But Smith didn't improve by enough. So he kind of, and Abhishek is staying out, so he goes up to 17th now. That is
17th
still
now.
5 positions away from a point.
Right. And amongst all that, Malav, you can beat me 6-8-1-0 in P5 positions, gain 5 positions from his starting position. So, decent race and decent comeback by our Aston Martin
Vfx is
driver.
officially the new Malav of Div 2. Now, Azun, can you type out that same comment if you're watching Azun so that this is a legitimate comment? Because I don't believe in that. Yeah. You are making me not believe in myself, HAK. There you. That's how illegitimate you are. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much to talk. We can't really talk about tire strats. Uh, just who's been your highlight of the race so far? I think it's between Malav and Ref King, who's now inside the top 10 from
Yeah,
last nearly. So
almost like P18 to P10 is
yeah,
has gone Ref King. Ace holding strong in P9. So yeah, decent race by the Alfa Romeo driver as well. But I think I am really bullish about Hershey. That he looked really confident in the
yeah,
on the
but he will
restart,
have to make
and the
Captain Sun
car
to
looked
make an
really
error.
stable. Car
Yeah,
looked really stable in the SS. So
yeah, but he will
uh,
have to make Captain Sandhu make an error because I you cannot pass here unless you are like I think you would have to be genuinely 2 seconds a lap faster than the other guy to even have a chance. So the only other way, of course, Suraj, is you have to pressurize them into an error.
absolutely.
Can he stick close enough for long enough that he makes an error? And remember, Sando, I mean, does he really have that much to lose if he finishes, let's say if he doesn't win and he finishes like second or third?
Yeah, I think
Considering where,
Sandhu needs
because
to
look,
just
Sid
focus on
Venkatesh
championship.
is not in the points, and as Malav pits,
Why?
man,
Why now? Why on second lap of safety car would you want to pit?
and
Something
he has a
happened.
wing change as well.
Eh,
But I don't see any. Can you just check the incidents tab once? And remember, if something did happen, it would have been him hitting someone with his front wing because he needs the front wing change. So, yeah, learn how to. Should have gone to Mumbai to deal with the traffic there. Maybe then wouldn't have to. Yeah, at least on the last game, the only good thing was that we see who got the 5 second penalty for collision, so we know who it was that
Yeah,
he hit. But yeah, um,
this game I'm guessing it's just a wing
yeah, it's
damage.
just your front wing. Yeah, and so that drops Malav all the way from when we were praising him down to stone dead last. Um, what can I say?
And now, what do you think? What should Sid Venkatesh do from here? P12, he
I mean,
needs good
there's
points.
really not much that he can do. Can he just have to make up positions on track? It's too late to pit now for fresh inters. And I don't even think fresh inters will make that much of a difference. Because you remember D1 in Silverstone, it was making a big difference. But Silverstone's filled with straight lines where you can overtake off the cornering advantage. But this place doesn't really have that, does it? I mean, so even if you're like 1 second faster than everyone else, like even in Silverstone, let's say, um, you still wouldn't be able to make up as many positions because there's simply lesser spaces for you to be able to overtake people. And
Yeah, I
then we
mean,
have to
so
add on to the fact that Silverstone tires only worked after like half the race had gone, and everyone who's pit for fresh inters only has like a 4 or 5 lap advantage, which equates to around half a second, maybe at best, around half a second to 6 tenths. Tire deck is higher than Silverstone though, so that could play to everyone's advantage. I'd say it's about the same though, the tire deck from here to Silverstone as safety car is in this lap. That was a very late call again because you see safety car's not even gone in and Sandhu's at the last corner.
oh man, Sandhu has gone. Sandhu has gone,
Oh,
and
that is a brilliant timing right there. You saw that safety car peel into pit lane as soon as he hit the finish line. That is a brilliant timing from him right there. I think if Jishnu is in the comment section, I think he learned that from you, Jishnu. From what I saw from the in that league race in another league. Um, but yeah, that was brilliant timing, wasn't it? And look at Ref King. He's on the P8. He's gained 2 positions just like that.
wow.
One position, I'm sorry, because Malav did pit. He was so he's already gained a position. That is He's working his way up the grid right now. He's showing them how to overtake. I think everyone who's struggling right now should just pull up. If he does have a stream, just pull it up right now and just watch at the next safety car.
Yeah, and Hershey's car looks really solid in this condition.
But look,
And
Sandhu's
Captain
not
Sandhu's not.
really making an error though. He knows that for Hershey to overtake, there needs to be an error from his side. Without the error, Hershey's gonna have to really force it, and I think now it's slowly coming to everyone's realization that they probably have to take this sets of tires to the end. So he
Yeah,
would burn out his tires if he really pushed right now, especially. Um, and you did teach him. Good job, Jishnu, right there. As Hershey was very wide at 130R, and that's gonna open the door. Now
it
that's the
is.
sort of mistake he needs to force Captain Sandhu to make, not one that he needs to make himself. Yeah, but you
But
can
has a
see
good
just
exit.
but
Good
you
exit.
see how hard these guys are pushing, even while going wide. I hope he did slow down there because he did get the fastest lap still.
And ref king on Ramen.
And now
Ref
lefting
king
on
on Ramen
Ramen.
turn one.
Is he gonna try
Will he
something?
make a
No,
move?
nah, he's not close enough.
Takes a look, but he comes back again.
He's gonna force Ramen to just like be wary of Ace as Abdul Samad goes on the outside of Ace. The game gives me the
That's
worst
a
camera angle
brilliant.
ever, and he pulls it. He has pulled that overtake. What a move that there from Abdul Samad. Clean, fair, a bit close to comfort, but that the track is so narrow anyway. You would have to say that most overtakes what's happened to Thakur? He's lost a lot of positions. Was that him trying to let Abhishek go through? Abhishek's now coming up to the pack that also has Sid Venkatesh in it as Raman gets another 3 seconds. What are you doing, bro? I don't understand. Like, he's the only man to not only have a warning but have multiple warnings as Thakur was spins. So can you just check the most warnings compared to Raman? Because Raman has 6. So can you just tell me who has the
It is
most?
Spandan. Spandan with 2 warnings. 1 warning away from getting a penalty.
How does Raman have 4 warnings more than the next guy? I don't understand. And
So
even
yeah,
2 warnings, you'd say at this point is quite a lot considering we're not even halfway through the race. But look,
yeah,
Harsh
and look
is
at Kalyan Verma on
really
Ace.
close.
Kalyan Verma on Ace, just on the gearbox of Ace. Would like to make a move on 130R. No, he does
But they
not.
cannot because he doesn't.